Welcome into the Players Club, presented by Pepsi. The Players Club is presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And in part by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. Now for your hosts, London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and Sean Springs.
Welcome to another edition of the Players Club. London Fletcher, as always, Santana Moss, and Sean Springs, a.k.a. Bluefoot, or we gonna call him Blue. Welcome back, brother. We missed you last week,
I was gone
Just
for
a
a
little
week,
bit.
man.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Hey, Tanner, you gotta admit, you like me better than Smooth.
I'd rather have you on here than Smoot.
Yeah, I know. Tanner's the same. He feel the same way, too.
Playmaker. You're a playmaker.
Yeah,
Smoot
man.
didn't make them plays, man. All right, man. So we got to let y'all know what we got on deck for this week's show. We're going to first and foremost recap our big dub over the Carolina Panthers. We're previewing our matchup against the Bears and talking about that top 5 defense. We're going to talk about our welcome to the NFL moments for each one of us. We got Quan Martin joining us later in the show.
Big time.
But first, fellas, we're going to start this off a little bit different. Instead of doing dubs of the week, we're going to go to some highlights
For sure.
from our game against the Carolina
got
Panthers.
for us?
Man. All right, let's get this thing cracking with the highlights. And we're going to start it off with, you talking about getting the party started. This is a little pressure and Dante Fowler.
Hey, running back
Let's
black moves,
get
man.
it started.
He looked good running that ball, man. Athlete.
Hey, when he hit it with that,
Yeah.
I said, oh, he had a running back in his life.
Definitely got some
in his
running back
background,
in
and he
his
confirmed
background.
that. Way to get that thing started. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, a little bit of pressure. Oh no, this play action pass. Blue, what you see here?
I just see a guy making a play. We knew Forbes coming out of college. He was a ball hawk. It was good to see him get that pick, build his confidence up. Hey, man, just jumped a route. I mean, Andy Dalton coming into the game threw two interceptions the week before. Now, look, that's how you make him play.
2 weeks, 4 picks, huh?
That's right.
Hey, and I love how his teammates celebrated.
Oh, man.
Forbes when he got that interception. That's a guy
I feel good.
being ready for his moment. He hadn't played in a couple games. In the last 4 games, but
And we talk about confidence all the time. We talk about when Terry had that big catch, but now on the defense side of the ball too, you get an interception, man, it can start to get contagious. You might end up making more and more plays. So I'm excited about that.
talk about big catches. I got a big catch for you right here. We're gonna go Zach Ertz. We're gonna go Zach Ertz with a 12-yard reception for Marcus Mariota. I love this, Tanner. When you see him out of the pocket, what are you thinking?
I mean, the first thing that Zach saw is what I saw from sitting in my seat is he saw a guy break the pocket to his right, and he said, hey, I'm going the opposite way. Let me bend this thing around, because guess what? If I get a chance to get outside this defender, it's going to be green grass, and that's just what he saw. He saw enough green grass to say, let me throw it in this hole. He threw it the highest point, too, only from where I was at, only Zach can get to that ball in a timely fashion. So, man, that was a great pass.
Tight end's quarterback's best friend in the red zone. Tight end, big body guy, huh?
And what I like, though, this is kind of like just 2 veteran quarterbacks doing this ad-lib and off-schedule play.
Backyard football.
Yeah, backyard football. And it's not – they hadn't played in games together. So for them to be able to, in this situation like that, to make that play.
But that's what you need for Zach Ertz. Don't get me wrong. He been making plays with a young Jaden Daniels. But when you get a savvy veteran quarterback in the game that knows – where his safety net's at, man, I mean, I'm pretty sure if we ever have to see Mariota in the game again, Zach Ertz going to be his guy he's going to, you know?
Yep, that makes sense.
Now, Blue, we got your favorite guy coming up with this next highlight, man. Your guy, Frankie Louisville. Frankie Louisville gets his former team.
Well, it meant something to him because, obviously Carolina, he talked about it on the week before on our show that, going home.
Yeah.
Man, this dude is a terror. You talk about physical at the point of attack. London, we talked about it 2 weeks ago about just the way he can rush in his moves and he just more than just a. I don't know how you describe what he plays. He's he can rush, he can drop, he can do everything.
He's a hybrid. He can do it all.
Like you said, Tasmanian Devil. And what I love about this night, we've seen him rush against running backs and beat them, but this was him rushing on the edge against the right tackle in the National Football League, and him beating him with speed around the corner and using the move and then getting around that corner and being able to make this sack. I don't know how many times I've seen guys miss the sack because they're not able to turn and get get back up into that sack when the quarterback is trying to step up in the pocket. All right.
Energy just contagious, man.
Hey,
just
is it really a highlight without a Terry highlight, man? We got Mariota to Terry McCorn for 25 yards. Love him orchestrating. Again, ad-lib, Tanner.
One of the things that stood out big about Terry this week, man, he just shows you that he can be that scrappy guy, too, in times of need, man. And that's what I love about his game. There's nothing that Terry hasn't showed us that he can do. So, man, this was great just to see Mariota find him time after time. You know, every time Mariota broke the pocket, Terry was fighting and clawing, making sure that he saw him, and Mariota saw him for a few times. And I think Terry finished the game with like 90-plus yards. So
almost 100.
Yeah, great outing for him,
on a pretty good corner. You know, I thought J.C. Horn.
Yeah.
I was really intrigued to see that matchup. But, you know, Terry just kept working, man, when the quarterback got out the pocket. And you need that sometimes when you're playing a good defender. You got to keep working against them guys.
What I liked on that play is when Mariota broke up in the pocket, and a young Mariota may have decided to run that ball, keeps his eyes down the field, not panic, and hit Terry. We're going to finish these highlights with a Ben Sinnott touchdown. Touchdown catch. The rookie, first catch in the NFL is a touchdown, man. Can you imagine that? That is a memory for a lifetime. Your first catch in the NFL goes for a touchdown.
I mean, you got to love it, man. I think one of the things that was special about this, just knowing, you know, where he's been this season. You know, a couple of games he got in there, had a penalty or two. You know, and you know, you expect that from a young guy. He got jitters. You're trying to get used to the game, trying to get acclimated into everything. And then in some of them same games, he's just been great at blocking, doing his job, playing his role. You know what I'm saying? So just to see him be rewarded now, man, it was great. And you know what? We got a chance to talk to him on game day with our post-game live show. So for all you fans out there who don't check us out, post-game live, every game, me, B. Mitch, and Brian Colbert Jr., please check us out every game. But we got a chance to talk to him, man. He said it felt fabulous, fantastic. All the good words, he said it felt that good for him because he was just one of those guys, man, I'm just doing my part. Whenever it comes, I'm going to be ready for it.
You talk about Mariota in the red zone with them tight ends.
Yeah.
Like you said that. Like,
there you go. Two touchdown passes, both of them tight ends. Well, this is my favorite time of the show. It's time for Drive Time, presented by Easton's Automotive Group. Any car, any way. Now, we just had a chance talking to Ben Sinnott about his welcome to the NFL moment. Let's share with our audience, man, some of our welcome to the NFL moments. Let me start with you, Sean. What you got?
Well, for me, it was early in my career. First, like the second game of my career in 1997, I was playing against a guy named Steve McNair, man. I never forget. It was in the Kingdome. And, you know, the Titans were pretty good at the time, and Steve McNair threw it out there, man. I ran it down, got that pick. I was just so happy I ain't dropped the ball. I was so happy I ain't dropped the ball, you know, and I could have probably ran a little further, but I ran out of bounds, celebrated a little bit, and I was just, that first moment felt good, and it was kind of like my validation, like you belong in the NFL, man. So, I got the jitters off after that.
You know, as I think about my welcome to the NFL moment, when I think about welcome to the NFL, I'm thinking like a bad moment for me. So we're in the preseason, fourth game of the preseason. I'm playing in St. Louis. We're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. They call it like the Battle of I-70. And I'm the nickel linebacker in this game going against the Chiefs starters. They're going 2 minutes. They send me on a blitz. So I'm coming up in there, and I ain't training camp and the other guy. I've been running everybody over, man. They got this fullback, Tony Richardson.
I didn't play with him, but I know who you're talking about.
I know exactly who he is. It is. I was in the West. Everyone knows that Tony Richardson.
I'm running man high. I'm about to run him over, man. He hunkered down. Pop! Call it a 6-inch rising blow. Boy, I ain't never been hit this hard in my life. Hey, when he hit me, I was like, damn, I don't know if I can play this.
Oh, my God.
That was my welcome to the
big time, man.
I was from here on out, I was ready for anybody else though after that.
T. Richardson was, didn't he play in that game when Sean hit him in 05? He was the fullback against He was the fullback for the Chargers in 05 when we played.
No, you thinking, was that Lorenzo Neal?
That was Lorenzo Neal. No,
that wasn't T. Richardson.
Hey, T. Richardson, one of them guys, first get off the bus, he looked like it. When you said describe a football player, that boy looked like a football player. He had muscles everywhere, man. And it was known on the scouting report. Hey, man, don't go in there half-stepping.
Man, when they didn't get me, either they didn't put it on my scouting report, or I didn't pay enough attention.
You probably wasn't paying no attention, man. You was a young buck.
It was preseason. You thought it was good.
You know, as young bucks don't think, we're out there just running around.
The crazy thing, it could have been, now that I think about it, so I wasn't a starter. The Romer Pfeiffer, who was a starting linebacker ahead of me, he got injured early in that game. So I had to go in sooner. So I wasn't planning on going against Sonny Richardson. He wasn't in my scouting report.
You're going to find out today.
But that's a lesson for all you young players. Yeah. Pay attention to the scouting report, regardless of whether you're a starter or not. Pay attention.
Yeah, one of the things I think about with my welcome to the NFL, I'm definitely not talking about nothing negative. So I'm going to talk about a bright spot, something positive in my career. It had to be my second season. My first year, for those who know, my first year I tore my knee up before I even got a chance to play. So that season was like, I didn't touch the field until like week 12. So I played the last 4 games, but that wasn't Santana. That wasn't me out there. I was just out there.
You wasn't back yet.
Yeah, so my welcome to the NFL moment came my second year. And I remember after getting a couple of, games here, and I remember we played London them week 1 in Buffalo. We beat y'all with our kick returner ran back 2 kick returns, that night. So I remember that game. But my welcome to the NFL moment came later on that year. I had been sitting there like, man, I've been playing when I'm getting this paint. And we at home against Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm not sure if you remember this cornerback. He was one of the biggest cornerbacks in the league.
James Hasty?
He wore number 42 or number 40.
40, James Hasty. That's all you got to say?
No, it wasn't James. You're talking about 44, Eric Warfield.
Eric Warfield. You're too young for James Hasty.
And so you know him. So, bro, big old joke. And all I remember guys telling me, Tanner, he going to put hands on you. That's how he going to slow you down. And the whole game, I'm saying to myself, man, that joker got something coming, boy, because I ain't letting him put no hands on me. Man, we in the red zone, and they don't throw fades to guys my size. And I don't know what Chad was feeling, but I routed him up so quick at the line, I was by him. And he was already on like the 10-yard line. Chad threw it up and down. I scored my first touchdown. And I ain't know how to act because I remember dudes just telling me this dude here ain't the dude to play against. You know what I mean? He gonna put hands on me. He can run with me. He can do everything I could do in a big body. So that was my welcome to the NFL moment. And I tell you the truth, after that game, everything is like, it was a domino effect. I ran a punt. I ran my first punt back the next week, had my first 100 yards. The week after that, I came back and ran another punt back. It was just like play week after week. Yeah, week after week.
That's crazy how that confidence just builds on from a play, man.
Man, that's messed up. So I'm the only one had a negative note.
Hey, man, that wasn't negative. It actually taught you a valuable lesson. Yeah.
So what about this week we play the Bears.
Yep.
What are some of the memories you guys have, matching up against those guys?
Man, for me, it was, Thursday night game.
Oh, in 07?
That was 07.
In 07.
Yeah.
That was a big one because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that was the game that kind of kicked off our run. It might have been the game that kicked off our run.
T-Sizzle, Todd Collins.
Todd Collins came in, and I was banged up that week. I think Smoot was banged up that week. And I just remember going against, I was just like, man, my back is out. They got a dude over there named Devin Hester.
What was wrong with you?
My back was hurting. But Thursday night,
the back was out.
My back was out. Like, they put my equipment up. I went and got it down, told them I was gonna play. All right, but I was nervous. I said, man, don't let Devin Hester embarrass me on national TV.
What you got to add into that story is we played man-to-man the whole game.
That is true.
We've talked about that a couple times, man. In that game,
we went man every single play.
No, we played. I will say this: we played 3 defensive calls, Tatter. Seriously,
yeah.
2 of them were man calls, and it was a Sam single. Then we mix it up, so we bring the Sam backer as the 5th NY. Then we mix it up and go wheel single just as a change up. Bring the wheel backer as change up, and then cover 2. 3 defenses against.
We had one more. We had one more that year.
What was that?
0.
Which is bad.
So with all that being said,
I had 2 picks that game against the Bears.
so we weren't getting home with the blitz because we had to be blitzed to somebody.
No, we wasn't getting home. Because it was a pressure, but it wasn't like
it was a run pressure.
It wasn't exotic or nothing. Like, and I don't know about you, for quarterbacks, when you're playing man-to-man defense, you obviously know where to go with the football a lot quicker as opposed to if we're playing zone and bringing pressure.
Yeah.
Now you at least got to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. But hey, I know they're getting man-to-man. I'm getting man-to-man, so I know I might like this matchup, so I can go here. I'm covering tight end down the field all day long.
Oh, my God.
And as so that was a high memory I got against the Bears. I think about 2010, Tanner. We played in Chicago.
In Chicago.
And
wasn't the field wet when we first got there? Something like that. It was like soggy.
It was kind of soggy.
Yeah, it was soggy.
It was kind of soggy. Yeah, and
was it early or late in the year? Was it early in the year?
I
don't know.
Might have been October sometime. Something like
that.
Maybe later in the year.
Okay.
So they're driving. They're up. Get in the red zone. They're about on the 1 yard line, maybe even the half yard line. Going in for a touchdown. Jay Cutler tries the quarterback sneak into the end zone. So I'm as a Mike backer, you're thinking about either a running back trying to go over the top or a quarterback trying to go over the top. So I time it, catch him midair, bow, and I hit the ball, punch the ball out at the same time,
right,
and recovered it. So I remember that play against the Bears.
I've had some good games against them, even dating back to my Jet years. I remember one of my best games as a young pup, as a Jet. We went to Chicago. At that time, they was playing in a different stadium. It was almost like a high school stadium. The stands. They had the crazy old. They had the metal stands, and like we was dressing out. I'm like, bro, this is not the NFL. But it was windy as crap that day, and we went out there, and I had a game of my life. But I think as a Redskin, that 2010 was special for me. We were just joking about it. I told you I was 210 pounds. Don't tell nobody that. I was. Hey, Larry Holmes, flabby and sick. And I mean, it was just crazy because it was that year, 2009 off season, which after the 2009 season, that off season 2010,
had that surgery.
I had a knee surgery. I had my last knee surgery, my third and final knee surgery, and I didn't practice the whole year. I mean, the whole off season with the team. Training camp, I rolled in that thing and like, this is what you got. You know what I mean? And hit the ground running. You know what I mean? I had a great season that year. That was the first year that the Shanahans was here. Mike and the Mac just got here and stuff. And so still went out there and had a phenomenal season. That was
against Peanut too.
That was my first.
Peanut was balling.
That was my first season catching 90+ passes too. I think I was third or fourth
at 210.
At 210. So that's why I always say, I joke around amongst us about.
But for context standpoint,
they don't understand.
Let the viewers know
5'9",
what you
210.
Let the viewers know what you typically played at what weight.
195 was the most I had played at that point. Up to that year, I hadn't weighed more than 195. So that was carrying a couple of people on my back. But we went up there and played, Peanut and
they had Urlacher. They had
Briggs. They had a lot of guys.
They had Mike Brown was there. Who was in secondary?
Yeah.
They had a secondary. They had pretty good.
Me and McNabb hit the ground rolling. I think I'm not sure if I had 100 yards that game, but I know I had a touchdown. I remember just the battle itself with Peanut. He's one of those guys that you always got to be aware of when you got the ball because he punching that thing out. They named the damn punch out.
Peanut punch.
So, but that game stood out to me too, man. I think another one stood out when we played. I'm not sure if that was the same game. Was that the same game that D Hall had the 4 picks?
That was the same game. And Jay Cutler was talking crazy after the game. Like, what are you talking about, buddy?
Yeah, so it was a lot went on in that game. You know what I mean? A lot of us stood up big and played them well up there.
Man, the fact dude threw 4 interceptions.
And D Hall ran one back, right? He had one for pick 6.
Yeah. Gets in his press conference and says he would do it all the same.
Come on, Jay. Come on, man. Show that. That was. I saw that.
I said, there's no way in hell this dude out here throwing this ball up to D Hall he done took 2 of them from me. Now you gonna keep throwing at him? But them were some good memories, man. I think one of the things about this game when you play Chicago, you always hear about their defense, and it's crazy how those years removed from when we played, you had Urlacher and all those guys, Briggs. Peanut, and I forgot the guy who played safety. He was the coach over here, I believe. I think he was on that team too.
Chris Harris.
I believe he was the safety on that team, if I'm not mistaken. And then now we in 2024, and we getting ready to face
Still
these
talking
guys
about the defense,
and
yeah.
the defense. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things you like about certain teams. That's their makeup. You know what I mean?
That's
no
their
matter
identity.
who the coach is, this is what they bring into the table.
When you think about them, think about Pittsburgh Steelers. You always think Steelers gonna have a dominant defense. They're gonna have some pass rushers at the outside linebacker position. The Chicago Bears, certain cities, certain teams, you're gonna have to have a certain type of offense, certain type of defense, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. I think that's important what you're saying, though, because Chicago, you know, you growing up in Cleveland, you know what it's like, and me playing in the Big Ten at Ohio State, like, with the weather up there, you got to build your team around the defense.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be some point in the season where you cannot throw the ball.
Yeah. And
especially up in Chicago with that win.
I always wondered too, if you want to, take it a little deeper, when you look at the collegiate level of play in those same areas, the Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest, went to school in the Midwest.
You wondered why the game slowed down in those areas. It makes sense. It was colder. You know what I mean? It was a different style of football.
Think about this. So going back to Ohio State, I know we talking pro football. What did Ohio State have to do to kind of change their trajectory in trying to really compete?
They came and get them Florida boys.
Went Florida, they went to Florida, got speed, and they went to Texas and got some dudes who can run.
Yeah.
Like in Ohio, we gonna have some O linemen, we gonna have some D linemen, linebackers, running backs. We gonna have big physical guys. But we had to go down to the South and get some speed.
Speed, man.
Yeah, that's facts, man. Hey, let's flip the script now, man. Let's really talk about these Chicago Bears. Preview the matchup against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
It's time for Set the Tone, presented by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. All right, fellas, it's time to really get into this, into this matchup against the Chicago Bears. You know, the storyline, one part is going to be obviously Jaden versus Caleb. And at this time of filming, we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. We don't know if Jaden's going to be able to play. So that's a storyline. But another main storyline has to be top 5 offense that we have going against the Bears' top 5
defense. Yep.
We're number 1 in the National Football League in scoring. The Bears, number 4 in points allowed.
Yeah.
On paper, this is the kind of battle that you want to see.
Yeah, and I think you got to go start, like, can we, because I can't even wait to get to it. We, looking at this game, I think a lot of people circled Caleb Wins versus Jaden Daniels at the start of the season because there was a lot of talk going back and forth, especially late, who was better, right? And then, Jaden Daniels, Caleb was always like the clear number 1, then Jaden kind of moved up late. But now when you think about this matchup, these two guys, especially the way Jaden has been playing over the whole year and the way Kalen came on over the last 3 or 4 weeks, could these two guys be the future of what the NFL quarterback looks like?
Yeah.
I think, assuming both of them stay healthy, this is going to be the next decade where these two guys are going to be battling. These two franchises will be battling to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Just based on if they continue to progress and play like they've played, thus far in this point in the season. I was looking at Jaden, well, not Jaden, I was looking at Caleb, his first couple of games versus what he looks like these last couple of games, man. And what you see is a quarterback who's getting the ball out on time. The arm talent was never an issue.
Yeah, never at all.
Elite arm talent, elite ability to make plays, extend plays. Sometimes that can be good or bad because there's times where he may get sacked for a 15-yard loss because he's trying to make a play. But it seems like he's playing a lot more on schedule. Yeah. He's trusting and letting his receivers make plays for him, going through his reads a lot quicker. And for a young guy, young quarterback, those are things you want to be able to see because most of the times when you're at a big-time school, you have what you call college open, where these guys are wide open, so to speak. Yeah. But then you have to understand NFL open's going to be look totally different.
Different.
Jaden, you look at him first game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right.
There were guys who were NFL open, but he didn't throw it because he's like, oh man, I'm not sure.
And he just took off and ran.
But now you're seeing those same plays. He's throwing that football. But Caleb, man, and its offense, and he has some weapons.
Yeah. Oh man,
those receivers, Tad. I'm gonna let you talk about them receivers, them Carolina. I mean, the Chicago Bears have.
I mean, no, they weapons indeed. I think when you think about it, I was going to chime in on too and talk about just his performances, the past 2 weeks compared to the games before. I just watched I believe it was the London game when they was up there playing against Jacksonville. And the thing that stood out to me the most is just when they brought pressure, being that he's a young guy, being that some of that stuff is still new to him, they got a chance to get to him.
Right,
you know what I mean? They made him double clutch. They made him tuck it. They made him try to do something extra. So I was looking at that, and then it was at times when that offensive line protected him, that's when you're in trouble. That's when those guys, Rome, Odunze, and you got your boy Allen on the outside. You got DJ Moore on the outside. DJ Moore. We know Allen. Both of those guys are DMV guys, along with Caleb. Then you got Swift. Then you got Komet. You got a squad of guys that can honestly.
I ain't know Keenan Allen.
Yeah, it's crazy. I met Keenan Allen Super Bowl weekend in Miami in 2000. That was 2020 or 19. 2019. Right before the pandemic. And I went up to him at a Reebok. We had a Reebok, Adidas little thing there. I went up to him, told him I was a big fan of him. Being a guy that watched him come up. And he was like, bro, man, you and Porters and Sean T, y'all represent my crib. And I'm like,
that's crazy. I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
And he said, man, I've been watching you since I was a jitterbug, man. I'm from D.C. I'm like, well, damn. So,
But
getting back to talking about those guys.
You said watching Caleb when he got that protection.
Yeah.
You, from your receiver, was there something jump off?
What jumped off to me is with time, he's Caleb. With time, he's Caleb. He's going to sit back there and wait for that guy to get open. And when that guy wasn't open, he got a little razzle dazzle on him. He's not like 5 when he's running that ball, but he can get out there and get some yards. But what I like the most about it is just the arm talent. It showed that he can make all the throws. You know what I mean? He was making from the first couple of games to now, that NFL Open, he was trying them. He knew who he had. Keenan Allen, you got to step on the guy. I'm back shouldering. I know you're gonna turn around and basketball. The guy out of there and body the guy up out of there. The young kid Rome, he was finding him. He's a sleeper to me amongst those three. I'm pretty sure
he's getting the least amount of attention.
Amount of attention, but when you watch him close up,
he was special coming out of school, out of UW. He was special.
He is really the guy. Don't get me wrong, DJ Moore is phenomenal. DJ Moore reminded me of Jamar Chase all over again. He was Jamar Chase before Jamar Chase, just being in a situation where it hasn't been the same.
Very physical runner too.
Physical runner. Once he got the ball in his hands, he's a running back. He has that low center of gravity.
We knew what he did to us last year, but that was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I'll say this, though, and Blue, you can jump in after this, but the thing that I noticed, and you may have noticed it too, Tanner, Keenan Allen has always been one of the best route runners in the league, and he still is getting tremendous separation, even as he's gotten older in the league.
Yeah. Keenan Allen reminded me of Keenan McCardell.
But bigger. But people don't realize he like 6'2".
They got the same kind of style of getting open. And they might not be fast straight line, but bro, in that small little area, they'll get you. They'll make you miss in the phone booth.
No question.
And that's what I've seen. He can get in and out of those option routes. Like I saw a lot of plays where they put both of those guys on the same side, him and Rome Odunze, and he run the option route and Rome coming behind him. So high-low. They high-low on you, making sure pick the open guy. The guys jumping on Keenan. I'm going to let Keenan have that all day. That's what he going to do. You better watch that dude coming behind him. You see what I'm saying? So, I think the world of Keenan because I think he's been having one of those careers that a lot of people been, sleeping on.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Go ahead.
But so that was my thing coming into the season about the two quarterbacks, and then you start talking about the defense of the Bears being top 5. And I'm like, wait a minute. These guys are sound. Yeah. The defense, they get. You know what scares me about the defense? It's one thing to be good, and you can, I think they're 5th in the league in a pass against pass and 180 yards, something like that.
Yeah, they're 7th against the passing yards.
7th against pass.
5th in total yards.
5th in total yards. You know what scares me though?
What's
when
that?
the team can get the ball.
Yeah.
It's one thing you can be stout defense, but it's another thing when you can create turnovers.
Yeah.
And that's when that's when the defense, and usually turnovers like one, great communication in the back end, or pre-snap, hey, Sean, we about to get this, we buzz this or do this. The 2, effort. And 2, effort, because now everybody got to be around the ball. And 3, you just got some guys who just have confidence that want to do it. So I'm excited. And I feel that about our offense. We get some confidence on our offense side of the ball. So now it's just confidence, just strength on strength.
I just think one of the things that stand out about their defense to me is regardless of how potent they are, they give up what we do well too, and that's the run game.
Yeah,
they've been susceptible to to the run.
Yep.
And so when you have a defense that that I can bend their wheel a little bit there.
Yep.
If we may have to play our second guy, that's something that I want to lean on. The way Cliff Kingsbury, I guess you can say, draw up things when it comes to our run game, finding those quick passes to be. I guess you can say little runs here and there, to take place for a run.
Yeah, extension.
That's what I love about what we got. Bingo, the extension of a run. That's what I love about what we bring to the table when you're facing a guy, a defense like this, because, heck, it's not going to be the first time we faced a defense that was susceptible to the run. I mean, not susceptible to the run, that was hard on us in one of those phases, whether it was run or pass.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I think Baltimore was a huge test, whether we wanted that to be a test or not. We saw ourselves be able to do what we wanted to do as long as we stayed balanced with it.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, we was down a man, and that man was one of the men that you don't want to be down.
It makes a big difference.
A huge difference.
Having B-Rob in that game, just his ability to run the ball. I look at when you talk about the Bears and their defense and all the different statistics and the measurables, but does it? A lot of times you can have numbers and they don't necessarily correlate to what you're seeing. You're like, okay, is it the competition they're going against? Is it, this, that, or another? They deserve where they're ranked defensively. Right. And what I look at is how sound they're coached. You look at every level; they have playmakers on every level. Yep. Guy we're very familiar with, Montez Sweat, who we traded to the Bears, and that's really he was the one that kind of turned the corner and got this Bears defense going in the right direction. Yeah. They got Sweat. They got 2 linebackers to play. Their secondary, they got outstanding secondary guys, but you don't see a lot of explosive plays allowed by them. Yeah. They make you earn everything. Their red zone defense, they might give up some yards between the 20s. Yeah, when they get into that red zone, they're one of the best in the league in terms of keeping teams out of their end zone. So you mentioned scheming things up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How can you scheme up explosives against the Chicago Bears defense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. One way you can do that by being able to run the football effectively with the counters and the misdirections and all the things that we do at a high level. Mm-hmm. And what does that do? Now all of a sudden, you have to bring a 8th man in the box. You have to have a safety commit to stopping that run. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, now we get opportunity to take some shots down the field. So it's paramount for us to be able to run the ball at a high clip, high volume of run plays, and then play action pass, runs that look the same, the pass married to those run plays, and that's how you get your chunk plays in the passing game. Yeah,
and that's some of the things we went over the other day on the command center. What he brought with him from San Fran, and it was just unique. It was special how basically, he had a guy in close and it was showing boot, and we actually pitched it to a run and ran it backside to the boot side. But everybody, it was crazy. I got to be able to bring this play up. I'm probably ask Matty to kind of put it in here because we actually went over that play. But it just shows you that each guy here that we have on this staff, they have a job, and that's why the game looks the way it looks offensively. From what we've been seeing, we sitting there saying to ourselves, Cliff is in his bag, but what about those other guys we got from Philly and we got from San Fran that's here that has a significant role too, and they bringing in all their minds together, and that's why our performances and that's why our offense is where it's at.
Well, and on the defense side of the ball, as defensive guys, I don't know if you noticed, Tanner, we got a little ego too.
Right? Just a little bit.
Just a little ego.
You got a big ego.
That's why I have an ego.
Right.
We got a little ego.
Came out the womb.
Kicked him out there.
And we paid attention when we said that, our offense going against good defense.
Yeah.
And I know the guys in the locker room got to be thinking, Chicago's defense is good, but we pretty good too. We've been getting better. Yeah. We've been getting better each week, and I know those guys got pride. I mean, Bobby has been on the top number 1 defense, and Frankie Lavu is playing out of his mind, and Fowler's making some plays, and Forbes and Central. Like, that's going to affect our guys. Our guys going to have to say, you know what? let's show out too.
Yeah, they gonna bring it.
And I'm glad you brought up the defense, man. We got to talk about our defense. Talk about it even a little bit more. You talk about pride from a defensive standpoint. So going into that Carolina Panthers game, there was a lot of talk in the media like, hey, this could be a high-scoring game. Because Carolina, they were coming into the game being really effective at being able to run the ball. Chuba Hubbard was third in the National Football League running the ball.
Johnson
defensively, we hadn't been stopping the run well. We had gave up some plays in the passing game against the Baltimore Ravens, had some busts, some miscommunications. So we hear all this stuff leading into this game. We're in that meeting room, and our coaches are challenging us. Personally, we're being challenged. Hell, we might be at the grocery store. Some fan might be talking about our defense. We don't even know. They don't even know that I necessarily play for the team. So we hear all this stuff. And what happened in that game against the Carolina Panthers? They went out. They set a tone, and they smothered Chuba Hubbard. 12 carries for 27 yards in the first half. He was averaging 2.1 yards per carry.
Right.
The third leading rusher in the National Football League. They couldn't make a play in the passing game.
And because people were nervous because, week before, the boy from the Ravens,
Henry.
No, not the running back, but the little receiver.
Flowers.
And then Deontay Johnson was, the boy. He was very similar to that. So we were going to. So
I think even better.
He might even. And I was thinking it too.
Maybe
so Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is his name. I was trying to remember. But Johnson was like, I was a little nervous about that matchup. So I was like, are they going to try to sell out for the run and try to stop the receiver that could get off? So man, you're right, London. That was just like impressive.
I think one of the things that showed up week to week from our defense, whether they allows the team to run or not, they've gotten better. They've gotten better. And not only just getting better as a whole, whatever they showed you the week before that was a thorn in their backside, they corrected it the next week. And
here's what I saw just from when I went back and we watched it, when I went back and watched the game against Baltimore again. In the passing game, there was some miscommunication that we hadn't had during that 4-game winning streak.
That's right.
With the exception, other than that Tampa Bay game, in terms of first game of the season, we had some miscommunications, guys running wide open. So there was a miscommunications. But one other piece is some of those runs that Derrick Henry had, we had guys trying to do too much.
Right.
Instead of standing there back,
doing your job.
Their gap, they're trying to make a play, trying to do things like that. So that was something that I know you're going against Derrick Henry, but you still have to do your job. Just trust the defense, trust everybody to be where they're supposed to be.
Or you feel you're going against Derrick Henry, so you got to do more than what you should do.
Exactly.
Just do your job.
Just do your job. So got back playing sound fundamental football, and that's what happened when you watched them against the Carolina Panthers. Guys were exactly where they needed to be, when they needed to be doing, where they needed to be. Didn't miss a beat, and we were without Jonathan Allen and also Dorrance Armstrong in that game. So
was it me or they looked like they played faster? They're getting faster. They played really fast against Carolina. That's what I felt like.
Well, what happens? You can play fast when you know what you're about to do. You're not thinking a lot.
Yeah, let's think it.
They looked like they were playing fast, man. So that was good.
All right, man. So speaking of secondary, we got a special guest coming up on the Players Club. Quan Martin is going to join us next. Welcome back into the Players Club. As promised, we got a special guest. We got Quan Martin joining us on the show. Quan, we appreciate you joining us.
What's up, y'all, man?
Welcome.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
It's your Ice Cold Player, brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
Oh, man. So last week we had one of your former college teammates and current teammate, Johnny Newton, join the show. And he mentioned after he got drafted, you were one of the first people to call him. What was that moment like for you, knowing that Johnny would be joining you here in Washington?
It was a pretty cool experience, man, just to have him call me after he got drafted, man, just knowing we was going to be teammates again. So, like I said, he always talk about pass rush and coverage go hand in hand, and he definitely one of those guys who can affect the quarterback, man. So it was fun having him back.
Speaking of a guy that you know from college, I remember when I got traded here from New York, already knowing that Clinton Portis was here, Sean Taylor was here, I knew that we was going to be able to read each other and just feed off each other. What does that have been like so far? Just knowing that Newton just got a chance to now, I guess you can say start now,
Right.
with John Allen going down. Have that chemistry kind of been present yet, like far as you and him on the field?
Yeah, man, it's definitely been evident, man. Just the type of energy he played with, man. Sometimes we making tackles together, man. So just having him running out the stack, man, and just having that energy. He's just playing fast, man. Just doing what he was brought here to do.
That's what's up.
That's good. Coming out of Illinois, man, you seem like your whole secondary. You got Witherspoon, the Seattle TA, Tony Adams at the Jets, you here in Washington. Man, all you do is prepare, man. It seemed like you guys stepped in day one with almost just like pros, veterans. Right. You know, what was it? What was going on in Illinois? So, you know, what caused that?
Man, I just feel like definitely the coaches. We had coaches that, really pushed us, man, and really just pushing each other. We was always on each other, man. Just not letting nobody slack off, whether it was a drill, we giving a look, and just playing together, man. We just had a good bond. So just had that bond off the field, and that translates on the field a whole lot. So we just able to go out there and play fast, play physical, just play our game.
You speaking about coaches that, kind of help you, I guess you can say, matured enough to go out there and play the way you guys played in Illinois. Last year we saw you as a rookie, and it seemed like those last few games, man, those last few weeks, you was showing up. Normally it take guys, that's in your shoes a little longer to kind of, get a grasp of everything. What helped you kind of turn that corner last year and be able to come in this year being where you're at now?
For me, man, just like not playing as early. So I just had some time to just sit back and watch the older guys, man, just how they was just handling different situations, calls, communication, and things that just really stuck out to me while watching film. And I would just always tell myself, like, how would I react if I was in a situation? So I'm just taking myself through, like, the calls and everything like that. So, when it was my time, man, I was just able to go in there and play fast, just do what I was brought here to do. And I haven't looked back since.
So now you talk about playing for a coach. Obviously, there's been a coaching change. You got Coach Dan Quinn in, man. What was that like? Now you get a chance to prove yourself to a whole new staff. Right. You came in as a rookie. This year, going into your second year, you got to prove yourself to a whole new staff. Coach Quinn comes in, man. What was that like?
It was fun, man. It's been fun so far, and really for him, I just got on the phone with him. We talked about where I wanted to play in the defense, and he told me I got an opportunity to come out and compete and fight for the job, and I embraced that opportunity. So I just knew what kind of player I was, and just took that into the whole thing, man. So. I just came out, compete, I grinded, and I got the opportunity.
Each player we had a chance to sit down in the seat you in, shared a little sentiment about the difference. Some of the guys who've been here before and some of the guys who new here, but they said the same thing. It's a brotherhood.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Can you define what the brotherhood is to you guys?
Man, it's just everybody doing their job at one time, man, and just knowing we got each other back on and off the field. And I tell them dudes every day, man, y'all boys just go out. I got y'all 6, man. Just go out, play hard. Just know I'm back there and I'm coming.
It's crazy that you mentioned that. One of the things that stood out to me was you coming out that post and the tackles that you make, man.
Yeah.
From that and guys who play defense don't
Not
understand how some of the tackles you're making in space. You weren't just coming up making rap. You were making damn outstanding football plays and just being that eraser, like, okay, right. I got y'all. Like, don't worry about it. I got y'all. And that's what that's kind of the mentality you have.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I always just let them dudes know, man. Just play fast. Just make a decision. And
I got you.
It's wrong, it's right, man. I'm coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just try to let them dudes just play fast and just know, like, and I'm sure it shows on film. Like, I can go and make these plays. Yeah. So I'm sure they confident in front of me and just playing ball.
What are some of the things, man? I spoke about the brotherhood. I wanted to hear a little more about it. What are some of the things that you guys have? Because I know, and we all had our way of kind of bonding with our guys.
Yeah, right.
I was a big Boo-Ray guy. I take the guys to, Hooters on Thursdays to kind of, fellowship. What are some of the things that you guys have done off the field as either a core of DBs or as a defense, as a whole?
Lately, man, as DBs, we try to do like Taco Tuesday. So every Tuesday, man, we go to one of DB cribs and making tacos and stuff like that, man. So, just trying to be able to bond and, just get that connection off the field, on and off the field, really, man. And we do like breakfast club in the mornings where we just come in, eat food, just run through some tape, just
That's good,
as a group, man. Just trying to get us all on the same page
That's
before.
dope.
That's dope.
That's how I start, though.
Right.
That's how I start.
So
Love that, man. Love that.
Man, I love it, man. I can't wait to see you continue to play. Quan, as with all our guests, we end up asking them to sign a football. So we're going to ask you to bless us with this, with your autograph on this football, man. And we appreciate you joining us on the Players Club. That's a wrap for this episode of the Players Club. We'll catch you next week, same time.